Hello everybody, and welcome to Whiz, your family-friendly podcast where we discuss D&D Onslaught, Dice Masters, Heroclix, and the other entertaining games made by WizKids. I'm WizDad, and I have Running Shot, Incapacitate, and Barrier. Am I Captain Cold? Am I Mr. Freeze? I'll never tell. And it's honestly just hard to tell if I am Captain Cold or Mr. Freeze in this case. I will be your guide for navigating the competitive and casual scenes of the WizKids Triforce of gaming. It's Heroclix Friday. Today I'm going to do a deep dive into Gotham City Underworld and look at the meta potential of the keyword in both modern and pulp. But before we get to that, like always, let's go over the WizKids progress report.
Kowalski, progress report.
Just a couple things to talk about in today's progress report. First off, if you've been living under a rock, you may not have noticed that the Wheels of Vengeance has been pushed to November 8th is the release date of the set. Pre-release is scheduled for 2 weeks before that, so October 25th. So you should still be able to do your pre-release for Halloween with this set, hopefully. That's kind of I think the goal was this set is kind of, mystical and, there's vampires and zombies and stuff. So kind of makes sense to make it more Halloween themed. So November 8th is the release day for that. Besides that, Death of Superman has already came out a couple days ago. Next week, the 18th of October, the starter set, the Marvel's starter set, I should say, and Bag of Spider-Man should be coming out. And then the beginning of November 1st, is when the Wakanda Forever OP play kit comes out, and the WizKids single figure display, which I think is interesting. I might pick up a set of them. Either that or get some shot glass displays. I've heard those are really good for Heroclix as well. But those are the only things thus far on the solicits that have a definite date. If something does not have a definite date, this is just my advice. If something doesn't have a date, not just a month, but a date, you should assume that hopefully it'll be coming out, but that means it hasn't had a set date. That means it's not in the hands of the distributors. I don't know if that means it's in the distributors' hands or not, but either way, make sure you take a look at the solicits. You could just look up WizKids solicits and you will see it out there. Besides that, there's not really much going on. Like I said in the Onslaught episode, this is kind of the off season of WizKids games and competitive gaming. This is where most of the tournaments turn to like an online format, or everyone rests up for the holidays, and then we hit the ground running in January, which I think is nice. It's nice to have kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Just a break. Now is the time to refocus on local play, building up local communities. It's getting colder. People probably want to play. I know we're trying to get more games going locally here, so definitely reach out. See if you can make sure your local group's playing. Play some holiday-themed ones. You've got Halloween, Thanksgiving, and Christmas rolling around. There are lots of things you could do with that. That being said, who is not very charitable is the Gotham City Underworld itself. And that's what we're going to talk about in today's Fishing with WizDad.
Get your gear, little man. We're going fishing. And I mean now.
So what I wanted to do with this section of Fishing with WizDad is go over Gotham City Underworld. Obviously with Notorious added another layer of Gotham City Underworld that added to the basic framework we got in Batman Team Up. The ones of Batman Team Up are interesting, but there wasn't really any heavy players coming out of it. It just wasn't that great. But Notorious changes everything. That and the iconics that we got. Like, we have a ton of Gotham City Underworld, to be honest, that is out there, and it is interesting. So what I'm going to do is I want to build some of the teams, talk about some heavy hitters, and then I'm thinking I'm going to do a video, a tier maker, of just showing Gotham City Underworld figures, maybe the first of many different keyword tier makers that I do, and kind of go through each one and talk about or rank them. But for the sake of this, because a tier maker isn't really that great in an audio format, I figure we'll talk about some of the key pieces I'm looking at with building it. A little background with my experience with Gotham City Underworld. I used to play Gotham City Underworld heavily back in the day. By day, I mean, oh, 20. When was Joker's Wild? That's a great question. Whenever Joker's Wild came out, which I think was, man, it's been like 5 years. Has it been 5 years? Joker's Wild was more than that, 7 years, 2016. I played a decent amount back then because I really love the penguins in the set. I'm a big bystanders player. I love creating bystanders. And we had the penguin in there. We had the Fast Forces penguin, which caused a lot of headaches. And I played that with Title Harley from the Harley Quinn set. And with, I guess back at the time, we still had resources, which was like the teleporter with ID cards. But I never played the ID card portion. I liked the inspiration, because with the teleporter, you could roll a d6 and you get one of the 6 ID card inspiration. So I was basically buffing up penguins and marching them down the field to Pulse Wave. It was a blast. So I'm excited to see another Gotham City Underworld team creep up. Just be able to, kind of be able to be competitive, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Something that is possible to play a bystander-esque team. I think bystander-esque teams could still fit, even though it's not a very nice meta for it with, a lot of figures that want to heal off of KOing things. But regardless, let's see if Gotham City Underworld can still work. So let's start with, I said Modern or Pulp. We will start with Pulp because I think that is arguably a little bit easier to build than Modern currently. And I think it is definitely the easiest way for Gotham City Underworld to fit. So right now for Pulp, I believe that everything needs to form around Poison Ivy. And she is really the enabler of most of this. You could make a functional team without her, but she is the fairly low cost figure that kind of enables a lot of things. So she is the first figure that I would look at to say, okay, Gotham City Underworld is good enough. And this is the 045 Poison Ivy from Notorious. I believe I talked about her extensively in the set review, but basically she makes the Thornvine bystanders who have the flurry, the exploit, but very low attack, and I think only 2 damage. But they have Batman Enemy, which changes a lot of things, a whole lot of things. So if I'm building a force, I'm always playing her at 80 points. No reason to go 50 points. You won't find a better 30. Those extra 30 gives her Empower, gives her protection with stealth, gives her a reducer in toughness, but also gives her 3 clicks of making plants, which is what you need. So absolutely playing Poison Ivy. Going through Notorious now, I'm not going to look at the goons individually yet. That's more for filler. But if we're talking Pope, I am looking at also the uncommon Harley Quinn. You might at first glance look at her and say, oh goodness, she's got leap climb. Why on earth, WizDad, would you want to play her? Well, that's not all she does. So she has Batman Enemy Team Player, and once again, we've talked about her a bit in the set review. But she also adds characters with certain keywords to Gotham City Underworld. The key one being Scientist, because most of the other keywords already have Gotham City Underworld. Scientist. She also has kind of the free retail if anyone attacks Gotham City Underworld or her. She gets to just free action make an attack against that person. Super cool. If it was Poison Ivy, which we're definitely playing one, she gets a +1 attack and damage, taking her to a 12 for 4. Again, super cool. 7 clicks for 50 points. Great value there. I abide by 1 click per 10 points is ideal. Anything more than that, if I'm getting less clicks for that cost, so I'm getting 3 clicks for 50 points, don't like it nearly as much unless I do something insane. She's also your leadership for the team. There's not a lot of leadership for Gotham City Underworld unless you dip into some of the beefier characters. This Harley gives you it. So, and for 3 clicks too. That's pretty darn good. So 028 uncommon Harley definitely makes the team. Looking down through the notorious list, I'm mostly just kind of looking for the ones I know for sure are going to make it. That's probably it for Pulp. Keep in mind, I'm talking purely Pulp. You could argue Cyborgman is good enough in Pulp to be kind of your taxi for Gotham City. He gives you kind of mind control protection, perplex, etc., etc. So I'll add him to my scratch space. I don't know if I'm adding him quite yet. At that point, the only pieces we have left is really in Batman Team Up. But that's where I think this shines significantly. Because you do have... You do have a lot of low point figures that can add some flavor to all of this. So let's start with 008 Harley Quinn. You're not playing her at 50 points. And at first glance, especially back in Batman Team Up, she was just kind of meh. I remember I played a Battle Royale with a bunch of these Batman figures, or a bunch of these Gotham City Underworld figures, and I thought, okay, well, this is kind of interesting. But she's better than you would think now, at least in Pulp. Reason being, for 25 points, she 3 clicks, so she's still within the golden ratio. She has Perplex, great. But then friendly characters with Batman Enemy have Suicide Squad. So remember, Poison Ivy, so far everyone has it, except for Cyborgman. But Poison Ivy and Harley Quinn both have Batman Enemy. So that means, once again, Batman Enemy is, when you're making an attack, you can replace your attack value with the printed attack value of an adjacent friendly character that can use it. So that's where the plants, the Twisted Vines, Tangled Vines, whatever they're called, they can get up to an 11 attack, because that's what Poison Ivy has. Well, this Poison Ivy, this Harley Quinn 008, gives them Suicide Squad. Suicide Squad means when an adjacent friendly character is KO'd, after resolutions, you may roll a d6. If you do, heal this character equal to the result -2, minimum 1. That is key because you're giving those plants Suicide Squad, because those plants do have Batman Enemy. So the plants are likely to die. That's inevitable. So, but that gives them the benefit of, oh, they heal Poison Ivy back up if she takes damage. Anytime they die, they can heal someone adjacent. That's great. Like, for 25 points, that's great. That means Harley becomes more of the target, which means this Harley, 008 Harley, becomes more of a target because she's also only 3 clicks. But that means that Poison Ivy gets... because Poison Ivy also has the BFF's trait, the free retail that Harley does. So that means Poison Ivy would get a free attack. So I like this Harley a lot. Poison Ivy is interesting. I don't know if I would buy into it. The 022 Poison Ivy from Batman Team Up. She would give the vines, the Twisted Vines, stealth. Basically, anyone with Batman Enemy has stealth. They can be very strong, but your vines are pretty much getting in melee anyway. So I don't know how great that's going to be. They're going to pop in, and Poison Ivy already has stealth. Some of the other figures have stealth. I don't know if I'm really reaching for this Poison Ivy to give basically your whole team stealth. The Penguin, I'm kind of leaning in the same direction. He is 25 points also. All of these basically have a 25-point line. He would give everybody Underworld, which is interesting, and like you should consider it. But you kind of have access to Underworld a little bit, especially if you take a goon. And Harley, the 50-point Harley we already have on the team, the leadership one, has team player, so she can gain access to that ability. And if we're playing Cyborgman, we don't necessarily need Underworld, at least not to pay for it, because this Penguin doesn't do enough otherwise to warrant being on the team. Catwoman, on the other hand, 25 points is not great. She doesn't really do anything for Gotham City Underworld. She does have stealth from Batman Ally and Underworld, so she would grant that for copyable purposes, but she's only a flurry blades, so that's kind of a no thank you. The one I would consider, and I have been thinking about, believe it or not, is 50-point Joker. 030 Joker from Batman Team Up. This Joker has 6 clicks for 50 points. Not great. Plasticity, poison, super senses, and shape change. But he gives Batman enemy figures mystics. And that's huge. If my plants now have mystics, they have to really consider whether they're attacking them. Like, if my whole team has mystics, they're going to pay the piper. So I'm really considering Joker on the team, especially in Pulp. I don't know if I can afford it in Modern, but in Pulp, I'm very much thinking about the Joker because Mystics is great, Mystics is powerful, especially in Pulp when there's not a ton of reducers. I don't mind it. And honestly, I'm strongly considering about that 50 points. Throw him in there, be a tie-up piece. He has an 11 attack top dial, so he can spread that around with the Batman enemy. That's not bad. Not bad at all. Looking at some of these other characters for Pulp purposes, Scarecrow and Batman Team Up, no. Mr. Freeze, probably no. Killer Croc, no. Bane is most likely a no also. And so that kind of leaves us, that's it. If I go back to Notorious, I didn't touch on the other rares listed there. There's another Killer Croc. This other Killer Croc's not bad for 90. 8 clicks for 90. That's okay. A 12 attack with Batman enemy. That's not bad. Polka Dot Man would give me access to TK, which I don't necessarily need on this team. Riddler is bad. Lincoln March doesn't do enough. Yeah, there's really not much else I would kind of reach for on this team if I'm really looking at it. Yeah, that might be it. All right, so let me build out the Pulp team. Now, let's see, where are we at points-wise? So if I'm playing Poison Ivy at 80, I am playing Harley Quinn 028 at 50. That's her only point line. I'll wait on Cyborgman. I'm playing the other Harley at 25, and I'm going to play the Joker at 50. That puts us at 205. Kind of an awkward number. But let's not forget 028 Harley also gives us access to Scientist. To bring it, Arkham Asylum, Batman Family, Gotham City Underworld, Gotham City, Legion of Doom, Suicide Squad, and Scientist. To bring one of those characters into Gotham City keyword. Arkham, pretty much all of those characters have this anyway. You gain like an Amanda Waller, whoop-de-doo. Batman Family, you get Batman, cool. You get Robin. This is now back in Batman Team Up. You've got access to Robin, who isn't bad at 25 if you need a leader, if you want to go that route for leadership, which you'd already have leadership. Batgirl, who could give you Perplex for 20. Clayface isn't bad. He doesn't do much, but he's not bad. Superman. Ooh. 75 point, though, for Superman isn't great. He could copy Batman enemy, though. That is interesting. So I'm looking at 015 from Batman Team Up Superman. He has Amazon, Batman Family, Gotham City, Justice League, Kryptonian, Metropolis, Trinity Reporter. Harley could get him onto Gotham City Underworld. He has Team Player, which is very good. And then he has 3 point lines, 150, 75, and 50. I'm not looking at 150. That's too expensive. I'm looking at 75. That's only 5 clicks. Kind of killable, so I don't love it. But in the current meta where Blue Marvel is and Deathstroke are king, you do have Arctic Breath. When Superman hits with a ranged attack, choose one to last until your next turn. A hit target can't use stop, which that's a key thing to get rid of with both of them. A hit target gains immobile. It's something to consider. I don't know if I would absolutely reach for this, but you could do worse. Those are okay traits to have. Like that attack power could get around some problems with like Blue Marvel or Deathstroke. Legion of Doom, if you choose that one, you do gain some good access, actually. You gain access to Lex Luthor, who would then be able to give your whole team basically Superman enemy, or at least anyone with Gotham City Underworld. That's something to consider. So I'll put that on the scratch paper as well. Access to Bizarro, no thank you. No thank you to Solomon Grundy. Grodd, no. Sinestro, not in Pulp. Black Manta, no, because none of them really have Dolphin. Black Adam would be interesting, but no. Okay, so that's all of really Legion of Doom. Suicide Squad, I believe most of these already have what we need. Well, okay, you have access to Deadshot, who could give you some damage from range. That's not bad. He's worth noting down if you need extra damage. Sportsmaster, funny enough, isn't that bad. Peacemaker. Listen, Peacemaker's not bad. Even if you don't go for the mission point section, he does 11 for 3 running shot, pen size, 6 range, so a 10 range ultimately. Suicide Squad already. Team player to copy Batman enemy. Once again, not bad. Not bad at all. He has that special prob control when an opposing character within range uses prob to target a friendly character of greater or equal points than themselves. After resolutions, give that opposing character an action token. That's not bad, but probably not good enough in my opinion. And that leaves us with Scientist. So Scientist, we gain access to multiple things. First off, I know the set isn't out yet, but when it is out, Night Nurse, which we've already seen Scott Porter preview, Night Nurse for 20 points, support adjacent friendly characters that share a keyword with Night Nurse can reduce penetrating damage. So Harley can just make Night Nurse Gotham City Underworld, and now your whole team can reduce penetrating. Now you don't have a lot of reducers. You have toughness, and that's about it. So be wary of that, I guess. Next is you can do Brainiac. Nah, no thank you. He's okay. Cosmic King, no thank you. Now we got into some Marvel stuff with Scientist. You've got Monica Chang. You've got 60-point Iron Man. Jocasta. Leader's not a bad option. Leader would be a great TK, a prob, and like a very good mind control. Tactical Force isn't bad. We got some Spider-Man that aren't great. Morbius would be funny, but not good. Beetle, no thank you. The Lizard. Hypersonic Blades, Now, you would have access going into Batman Team Up to the Brain. And that would be one I would consider. Because the Brain is someone who is able to... He has leadership trait. Leadership once per turn for all characters with this trait. The Brain may be given a non-free action after being carried, but only if he shares a keyword with a character that carried him. So he would be getting Gotham City Underworld, so he could take a non-free action afterwards. We are kind of a team that goes across the map, hopefully, and drops a vine and does something. So the fact the Brain can go over, drop, outwit, and then mind control, that's pretty good. That's actually really good. I'm gonna put that on my list of potential includes. Then we get to Avengers Forever. We've got Iron Man, no. Wonder Man, no. But then you got the big dude himself, which is the likely pick. Yeah, he is the likely pick. even though Mr. Sinister kind of is potential as well. Let's talk about Blue Marvel. Blue Marvel is a scientist. You could add him to your team for 50 points or 150. You're probably adding him at 50. I think that's acceptable. I think that's probably the play, is to just play him at 50 points. That puts you at 255. What do you know? Guess who's at 45 points? That's right, Mr. Cyborgman could then go on the team, and you've got a 300-point team. Blue Marvel would not have access to the Mystics or the Suicide Squad access, because he does not have team player, and so he does not have access to like Batman Enemy, which kind of stinks. But you know, it is what it is, right? Like it can't be perfect, right? If only it could be perfect. Before we talk more about that, let me look at any other scientist. You've got access to Claw. You've got access to Red Skull. Red Skull's interesting, but probably not good enough at 75 points. You've got Nanny, and then you've got Mr. Sinister at 80. I don't hate that. It would fit. He would give you a running shot, Pen Psi, leadership, and outwit, shape change, and then he would have the rally die. Now, he wouldn't have a reasonable way of getting it, but with plants flurrying and you're doing that a decent amount, you could probably rack up those ones pretty quickly. So I don't hate that play too. If you don't want to go Blue Marvel, you could go Mr. Sinister. But let's build around the Blue Marvel idea. So once again, to recap where we're at with Pulp, is we're sitting at Poison Ivy, the key player, at 80. Harley Quinn, 50. That's 0.28. The Joker at 50 points. Number 30, Joker. He gives Batman Enemy Mystics. Blue Marvel at 50. And then Harley Quinn 008 at 25. So that means you've got a Perplex. You've got an Outwit with Blue Marvel. You've got Leadership. You've got Mystics. And your main damage is being dealt by plants, by, or whatever they're called, Twisted Vines, Thorn Vine, that's what it is. Thorn Vines, Blue Marvel, and kind of the retals of Poison Ivy and Harley Quinn. I don't hate that. You could also get Joker kind of involved. He does 3 damage. You know, he isn't pointless. To fill up the points, you could go Cyborgman at 45 points. You do lose access to the goons at that point, which I'm not a fan of. I kind of want some access to goons. I think goons are pretty good. Like, you could fit 3 goons in there if you really, really want to. That's a lot of points to be giving up, but that's some empower as well. The question is how are you getting everyone across the map? That's the big question. Because you could carry, you really need a Underworld TA on there. And there's not really an Underworld TA on the team currently. If you did a Goon, you could get one. If you did 25-point Penguin, you could get one. Would you go 25-point Penguin to give everyone Underworld, or would you go Catwoman to give access to Batman? I will say that's a tough decision. These last couple points are interesting to try to figure out. The safe play would be you could just go Cyborgman. He does have an 8 movement, so he could kind of get you halfway across the map. And then Poison Ivy can just, do Poison Ivy things and bring in a plant. It's honestly not that bad. Keep in mind, though, that you are going against, Blue Marvels and Falcons, bringing everyone over. But the whole Pulse Wave meta has kind of gone down a little bit since Party Thor is gone. And while Sinister still exists, he's not as formidable with Moira gone. So just something to keep in mind. So you could reasonably play Cyborgman in that slot, make it around 300. I don't know if it's ideal. There might be some more tinkering I would want to do with this. Not having a good access to TK doesn't feel great. So at that point, you could debate whether you want to get rid of, like, free yourself up 25 points by getting rid of the 008 Harley. And if you did that, then you could, play something else. One of the goons to give you Gotham City give you the Underworld team ability. And then you could play... Goodness. I mean, you could do Polka Dot Man if you really want the TK. I don't think Polka Dot Man's good enough, though. He's got team player. Maybe. So if I take off Harley, put Polka Dot Man on, that gives me 30 points for 2 goons. Gives me a TK for Blue Marvel. Gives me access for Harley Quinn to be able to carry Poison Ivy and something else. And then the 2 goons could just carry people over. Polka Dot Man does give you access to Barrier as well. He's kind of a deterrent because he takes 2 hits to KO. And you have to hit him twice. I don't hate that. Honestly, I don't. I think that's fine. Polka Dot Man and 2 goons. I would go... One of the goons has to have the movement power, so I would go probably Riddler goon because he has sidestep. Yeah, so I'd probably go a Riddler goon because he has sidestep and the Underworld team ability. And then I would probably go... I don't know which one I would go next. You could go other goon for the Empower, but he just dies incredibly fast. Yeah, that one's a tough one. I don't know who I would go for my other goon. Because you can't go 2 Riddler goons. So either White Rabbit goon for support and the mind control, or the other goon for Empower, so you have double Empower on your plants and you're doing 4 damage. I don't hate that either. So I think that's 2 angles you could go for Pulp, is strictly add back the Harley that gives Suicide Squad, and then play Cyborgman. Or you could do Polka Dot Man to give you a TK. Or choose Barrier if they go first player. Like if they go first, and they're going to run across the map, you could choose Barrier with the Polka Dot Man, and then be able to put Barrier in some of your team to protect it. But if you go first, then you can be more offensive and choose the TK slide to then be able to TK Blue Marvel out. So I don't hate that at all. Alright, so now we're done with Pulp for now. Once again, I'm thinking about trying to do a tier maker that breaks down all the Gotham City Underworld. But let's now build a new team. And I'm on HC Units, if anyone's curious what I'm doing. On HC Units, let's build a new team for Gotham City Underworld that is going to be modern. And this is where I think things get interesting, gets a little bit more sketchy because of how dangerous the modern is currently. But you do have access to some very interesting things that can make this very, very interesting. And we're already at 30 minutes for this. I did not know Pulp was going to take me so long. But I'm not going to turn this into 2 episodes. Let's just run through this. We already know the main players. We already know that you're going to probably play the Harley that adds someone to Gotham City Underworld. She's just too good for the points right now. And in Modern, she adds even more potential. You're going to add Poison Ivy. That's a must. At 80 points. So let's look at some of the just strictly Gotham City Underworld super rares and hires, because we've already gone through everyone else. Joker, pass. Jokester, I'll write him down as a maybe. That whole prob control, rerolls, all of that stuff is interesting. The perplex for 3 things, very interesting. The point value, very interesting. But we'll have to see how we turn out. Two-Face, as much as I like the Two-Face mechanic, I don't think he honestly makes the team. Harley Quinn, super rare. Whoo, boy. I think she does make the team at 25. She gives you access to Underworld TA. She has Batman Enemy. 25, she gives you Empower and Support and Sidestep, so she can kind of carry you around. If you happen to go first, she gives you access to what was the Justice Lord's ability. That was if you were the first player, when the opposing character is damaged by a friendly character's attack, after resolutions deal that opposing character one unavoidable damage. If they're not KO'd, heal them, so kind of a way to get through some stop clicks if they have one stop click. Unique modifier, this one is unlikely to happen, but it'd be cool if it did. If an opponent's force has more characters than yours, friendly characters modify attack and damage +1. Since you're making the Thorn Vines, it's unlikely that this is going to happen. But I'm going to add her anyway, because 25 points for Empower Support and the potential Justice Lords, and the access to those keywords is very good. I'm not messing around with super rare Poison Ivy. She got a bit of an errata anyway. It's interesting, but not interesting enough to play. King Shark, I will note down. Simply because he could do a lot of damage. He could be one of your heavy hitters. But I think there are better heavy hitters for Gotham City Underworld. Same's going to go for Catwoman. She is very much a don't die piece. She doesn't do much is the problem. But she can be given some equipment. And I haven't tested that enough. Whether like the Bat Belt, because I believe she gets the Bat Belt for free because she has Batman Family or the Batman Ally team ability. I think she gets the Bat Belt for free. Those type of items or equipment might make her more playable, give her more options to do things. Penguin, I will consider at 40. He has is another leadership team player. He could get you goons potentially, depending on if you're first player or not, but also being able to just dish out Blade's Claws and Precision Strike could be good, or Energy Explosion Knockback, or Poison Smoke Cloud. So he is going on the scratch space as well. Not a big fan of Frank the Plant. Would not consider him. Well, you might want to consider him, but I don't think it's there. Well, he could be given non-free actions after being carried. If he had that flurry down Dio, I'd be more game, but just getting over there to outwit and attack 11 for 2 doesn't feel great. Jervis Tech, no. Kite Man is a yes. Kite Man also, I think, enables Gotham City Underworld to be played in Modern, simply because of the I gotcha. Other friendly characters with Gotham City Underworld keyword within 4 squares can use Mastermind, but only to choose Kite Man regardless of adjacency. When they do, after resolutions, place them adjacent to Kite Man. 25 points gets you 5 clicks. That's double the golden ratio for me. So that's great. And then he also gives all, if you're outdoors, all the Gotham City Underworld people flight, which helps with carrying people. So I think you play him at 25. 40 is tempting to give extra 3 clicks, but I think 25 is just great, just to kind of have Mastermind potential. Golden Glider's a no. It's a cool gimmick she does with the Blade's Claws, but no. Deceased Joker is a no. Poison Ivy, the Ellie, is a no. The Ellie Riddler, no. Calendar Man is a yes, believe it or not. I have become to be a big fan of Calendar Man. It will depend on when you're playing him. But he does bring prob. He does bring stealth. He could be able to move through characters, sure. He could be able to choose an opposing character with a range of line of fire until your next turn. They modify defense -1 and decrease its single D rolls by -1, which is very good. That's on an odd number day. He has Precision Strike. That's fine. There's no move and attack for him. But he could use Energy Explosion that deals penetrating if it's a Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. Otherwise, he becomes a 11 for 3 because he boosts his attack and damage by 2. That's funny. But the real reason you would consider Calendar Man is his damage power. If the game began on an even number month, Calendar Man has free. Choose a standard power. Opposing characters within range can't use the chosen power until your next turn. That's great. That's a Cosmo. That's a, I don't want you to use Invincible. Okay, no one uses Invincible. Like, none of the opposing characters within 4 uses Invincible. And you can Perplex at that range. So, definitely on the table. He is probably a consideration just depending on if it's an even month. If it's not an even month, it's still not bad. He can use Prob twice. And regardless of range. So as long as he has line of fire, that's pretty good. But you probably use him on an even month. Deathstroke is strong, but probably not great for this. For Gotham City Underworld. I would consider Hush. I like Hush. I think Hush has it gives you outwit protection for 60 points. 60 is a little much. But outwit protection and allows you to kind of support characters and kind of move them around a little bit with his abilities, so he is someone to consider. I severely need to practice with Bane. I talked about in last episode on the Iconics, when we talked about those. Starts on click 7, 75 points. Not great at that point, but you can free roll a d6, heal him half the result. If it's 3 through 6, he gets an overdose token. And if the result is 3 through 6, give an overdose token. Bane may heal past his starting line this way. At the end of your turn, deal Bane 1 unavoidable damage for each overdose token he has. So you could roll a 3, and keep in mind, it's equal to the result, guys. And it's free. Like, it's a trait. He gets it all game. He removes an overdose token. Combat reflexes, willpower, another trait. When Bane KOs an opposing character or succeeds a willpower roll, remove an overdose token from him. So it isn't just KOing. It isn't just he has those overdose forever. If he has willpower, he can get out of it. And then he has a special outwit power, which is only on his lower dials. Outwit, when he uses it, he may draw lines of fire and count range from a square of a friendly character that shares a keyword with him. That is important because everyone shares a keyword with him on this team. So you could kind of slow roll him up. And he can outwit from range. And he has TK, actually. Did not realize the TK. Whoo. Bane is definitely on my consideration list. That Bane is very good because he does get up to a 13 for 4. I'm sorry, 14 for 5 top dial if you roll that 6. But anywhere above 7, he's a charge, super strength, impervious, close combat. And yes, they could just Pensai him, of course. But he can heal every turn, and he has combat reflexes. Like, I don't hate it. I really don't. Now we're getting into the Con LEs. Because I'm not really considering Azrael. I honestly don't really get Azrael. There might be something I'm missing there. We have the Joker Con LE, who is interesting, but I don't think interesting enough to play. But then you get into the Royal Flush Gang, and this is interesting because they're just kind of interesting. So you start with 10, and once again, I haven't really boiled down like how good these are. Start with 10. That is just the team up card. We're ignoring that. We're not making a Batman team up. We're not making a Batman family team up. 10 carries one or more characters with Batman family keyword after resolutions heal her, and the carried characters 1 click. That's wow! I didn't actually know that. She has Outwit, Prob Control, and when she uses either, she has a minimum range of 6. Okay, so that's more Batman family-centric, probably not good for Gotham City. Ace is 50 points when he's KO'd before placing it in your KO area, and all these Royal Flush do this. It clicks 8, 9, 10, 11, each have a suit, so spades, hearts, clubs, and diamonds. And then it is, I think, Queen? I think they might all do something depending on what you have on there, so they kind of work together. Basically, Ace has Impervious on his clicks 5, 6, and 7. When he uses it, increase the result by +1 for each spade displayed that's protected outwit. He also has regen, and if he has no action tokens, he can use it as free. He's not that great at 50 points. He's a giant. 19 defend is nice and power, but not really feeling that at all. Oh, here's regular 10. So the 10 I was looking at was the team up, and it actually has a completely different... Oh, so that whole 10 of hearts thing was just on that team up card. That's neat. So the regular 10 is when she's KO'd, you could turn her to any of those suits. Free. Choose an improved targeting ability plus an additional improved targeting ability for each club. 10 can use the chosen ability until your next turn. Okay. Nothing to write home about. You've got Jack. Jack can use Blades, Claws, Fangs from close or range. Okay. And Perplex. When an opposing character attacks Jack and misses him, after resolution, steal 1 penetrating for each diamond displayed on the character's... Wait, in your starting area? Hold on. No, that they mean in your KO area for Jack. Okay, that's neat. Yeah, these are not selling me on anything right now. Yeah, none of these are really doing it. You've got Queen, free, roll d6, increase the result by +1, blah 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 blah. 6. If you roll 6, give an action token to an opposing character within range of line of fire. Okay. She's got hypersonic. She's got in-cap. Special in-cap power once per turn for all characters with this power. When a friendly character with a Royal Flush Gang keyword within range hits, range of 5, after resolutions, you may deal each hit character damage equal to its action tokens. Okay. That's kind of interesting. I don't know if that's 50 points worthy. Then you got King, who is a charge piece. He allows you to turn any of your characters in the KO zone to a different suit. He has leadership, shape change. And he has leadership, shape change. At the beginning of your turn, you may choose a card suit until you choose again. Friendly effects that count the characters displaying the chosen symbol in your KO area also count King, even if he's not in your KO area. Oh, okay, so he gives a boost. The only one I think you consider is the Legacy Ace. Ace is 50 points, much better than her 75 from before. Shape change outwit other characters, friendly or opposing. Can't use outwit, safeguard outwit, or protected outwit. That's big. Like that, they can't outwit your powers unless they get rid of Ace. Ace only has Barrier, Perplex, TK. Does have a Mind Control. When Ace uses it, modifier attack +2, and after resolutions hit characters, modify attack -2 until your next turn. That's after resolution, so after you Mind Control, they have the -2, not during it. And then she gives Gotham City Underworld and Arkham Asylum and Suicide Squad Royal Flush keyword. So this would be a Royal Flush gang as opposed to Gotham City Underworld, which is interesting. Could work with like Queen or something, but I do like Ace for 50 points for Perplex, TK, Barrier, and the protection from Outwit, Safeguard Outwit, and Protected Outwit. Now, she would be the only one that could outwit in this case. She does have Shape Change. Forgot about that. That is pretty good. That would protect your that would protect your team pretty significantly, in my opinion. So she goes in the scratch space. Then finally, as I'm looking through some of the rest, there's really no one else to write home about. You've got, Legacy Harley and Ivy. That's okay. They wouldn't get you any of those free retails, unfortunately. Lex Luthor and Joker for 150 or 50. If there are no one within range of fire with Batman or Superman team abilities, they can have Safeguard Outwit. That's not bad. And Mastermind they have. Sidestep. When adjacent friendly character is given a move or power action after resolution, you may place Lex Luthor and Joker adjacent to that character. If you did, once per turn after resolutions, they may make an attack. Ooh. Okay. Okay. So 50 points, they get to basically make 2 attacks. Because after resolutions, you place them adjacent. So they're placed. If you did once per turn after resolutions, they may make an attack. So they just make an attack. And then you can... That's not a costed action. They just make an attack after... Make that attack, and then you could just do a regular attack. So it's kind of like how they used to work as a duo figure. I don't mind that either. Now, they could die pretty quickly. They're 50 points, only 3 clicks. They've got Mastermind. And they could have Safeguard Outwit, so that's like kind of a protected Mastermind. I don't mind that either. And then you got Batman, Catwoman, which is interesting. I think they're still legal. They're 2021, which has the Outwit and Prob. And then Punchline and Harley, which is meh. I don't know if I really want to go into all of the scientists you could bring in. If, the shifting focus Iron Man we might get here soon is really great. That's a consideration. You've also got a lot of Avengers 60th. So you've got like the MOE chases that you could potentially bring in, which would be great. You got access to... let's see, who all do you have access to? Who all is a scientist? You've got Spiders... just running over these real quick. Super Rare Spider-Man from Avengers 60th. Moonstone, which isn't bad for 25. Like I said, the MOE chases, quite a few have scientists. Let's see. Going into Beyond Amazing. You do have access to Prime Spider-Man. That's funny. That's probably arguably one of the best places you would go, is that Prime Spidey on this team, because he can kind of get over there and then everyone else follows, and you've got him attacking and the plants attacking. He goes very much in consideration, like super consideration. Besides that though, not much else in the Spider-Man. I mean, you've got Carnage Iron Man, Iron Gwen, sure. But there's probably... That Prime Spidey's probably your best bet. Going into Batman Team Up. Nothing we haven't already mentioned. Avengers Forever. Avengers Forever, you've got access to Invincible Ant-Man, if you want to go that route with some ants. Some ants to go with your plants. You do have Arachnite. That's a good piece. Arachnite, and also give him Outwit protection with Ace. Man, we're kind of cooking here. That Harley adding someone to Gotham City Underworld is pretty clutch. Besides that, though, there's really nothing else to talk about with the Con Ellies, because you have, Little Monster. You've got Iron Hammer, which is interesting. We've already talked Blue Marvel. Not a whole lot going on the scientist front. Bunch of Spider-Men. I'm kind of going back through, making sure I didn't miss anything. The shifting focus Iron Man is the one I'm keeping an eye out for. MOE chases are great. They might just be the go-to you do, but keep in mind when you switch them out, those won't have Gotham City Underworld, so they won't have all those benefits. And then last but not least, let me check some of these other keywords for the whole set. So like Batman Family, for example, you've got access to Deceased Batman. Okay, you've got the Hard to Kill Batman. Okay. Mermaid Batman, which is funny. You do have access to Prime Batman, which would give you Green Lantern and access to the lanterns, which I don't hate. But Lantern Rings, I should say. You will have access to World's Finest at 60, which I don't hate. And that's kind of it for Gotham City. You have Prime Wonder Woman as well, I should mention. Once again, another access to Green Lantern Ring. Alright, let me see before I round this up. Legion of Doom, is there anyone I'm missing? Not really. Arkham Asylum, it's pretty much all the same people. Yep, pretty much all the same people. Suicide Squad. No one really of note. Gotham City. Gotham City gives you the KC Green Lantern, which is very good. Gives you Commissioner Gordon, which gives you free TK and leadership and barrier. That's very good for 30 points. So I would note that one down as well. And gives you Batman with Starro. Or Jarro, I should say, not Starro. Which that one's a little pricey at 75. I don't know if I would go. Don't know if I'd go that route. So yeah, I just looking at this, like I know I haven't built a complete modern team. I think I'll do that more in like a tier maker of some sort. But just looking at the available pieces, bringing in a Prime Spider-Man, an Arachnite, combined with Poison Ivy, Harley, a Kite Man, like just having Arachnite and Spider-Man and having the capability of just they have to mastermind to Kite Man. That's a lot. Like that's really good. Really, really good. That gives you a lot of protection. And you can choose when to drop those Thorn Vines. I love it. But I've been kind of chattering on about Gotham City Underworld. Looking at it now, I think Pulp, I feel okay with it in Pulp. Not as many options, obviously, as you would have in Modern. Modern, though, higher bar to meet in order to be good. I think it's there, just looking at it. You can obviously go non-theme to put all these pieces on. I like trying to build theme first and then going non-theme. But I like this quite a bit. And I didn't even look at team-ups. I didn't look at certain things. I think you could definitely go Poison Ivy, Harley Quinn, Kite Man, and then add in 100-point Spider-Man or not 100 point, I'm sorry, 75 point, 80 point Spider-Man or 100 point Arachnite. That's what I was trying to say. Maybe fit on an Ace to give you some outwit protection, which would be good for both, to be honest. He has protected outwit on Super Senses and Impervious, but not on everything else. So definitely look at Gotham City Underworld. Definitely something to, there's a lot to work there. A lot to work with there. Keep an eye out. Hopefully this weekend I'll find time to do a tier maker on just the keyword. And you'll see I'll put all of these figures, even the ones that Harley could bring in, and I'll put them in a tier maker to say, okay, which one do I think are the ones you want to try to fit on a team? And that way you can see it visually. Like me, I'm a visual learner. But thank you guys for listening to this episode of Whiz. It was fun going through all the Gotham City Underworld. I hope all of you have a fantastic weekend, and I will see you next week. Hopefully this time I'll do a Dice Masters episode and something won't creep up on me. Sorry, once again, Dice Masters people. I will try my best to record one on Monday. Have a great weekend, everybody.